Valentine's bouquets come in all shapes and prices, but how do you know which one's best when there's so many out there to choose from? Well, it's simple. 1-800-Flowers.com is your Valentine's go-to. Right now, when you order early, you can get 24 multicolored roses for only $29.99. Or upgrade to 24 romantic red roses for only $10 more. It's an unbelievable Valentine's offer from 1-800-Flowers. 24 multicolored roses for just $29.99. Or upgrade to red roses for only $10 more. Roses from 1-800-Flowers are picked at their peak, shipped overnight to ensure freshness and her amazement. 24 multicolored roses for only $29.99 or an upgrade to 24 red roses for just $10 more is the perfect reward for thinking ahead. Look, make sure you lock in this offer. It's only good while supplies last. To order 24 multicolored roses for $29.99 or upgrade to 24 red roses for only $10 more, go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click on the radio icon, and enter the code WINGO. That's 1-800-Flowers.com and enter code WINGO. Order today at 1-800-Flowers.com, code WINGO.
I'm a robot vacuum cleaner, so yeah, I got one gig. I suck up dirt, so pardon my inferiority complex about Geico, who does so much more. Like, not only could they save their customers money on car insurance, but they got fast and friendly claim service too, and an award-winning mobile app. Plus access to licensed agents 24/7. Who am I kidding? I can't even do corners. Uh-oh, choking hazard.
Popcorn kernels.
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
I'm not going to lie to you. That might have been my favorite thing to come out of our Super Bowl week, is getting to do the junior laugh like 4 or 5
really
times.
Good. You have it down. You really do it well. I love how your mouth shapes on that,
well,
too.
there's no other way to do it. I mean,
Yeah.
to force it out that way.
Yeah.
I mean, Junior does laugh like he's Pappy.
Yeah.
He has a Pappy laugh.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a 28-year-old millennial
You
laugh.
have to take the corncob pipe out of his mouth to do the laugh.
It is a full chortle.
It
the
is.
Junior laugh is a full chortle.
It's distinctive. There's no doubt about
there's
that.
no way. Oh, he's distinctive on many levels.
Yes, he is.
And he was very interesting with you earlier today.
Yes,
when you guys
he
got
was.
into it about Malcolm Butler.
Yeah, we did.
Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN2, presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. This hour of Golic and Wingo, by the way, is brought to you by La Quinta Inns and Suites. Book at LQ.com and win at business. And there were a lot of things to get into with the Malcolm Butler situation. First and foremost, the mystery still is around there.
Right.
We had Mike Reese on earlier today talking about it, and we asked Mike Reese specifically what more he could tell us about why Malcolm Butler wasn't playing any defensive snaps on Super Bowl Sunday, and it kind of remains a mystery.
Was there anything else during Super Bowl week that happened that led to this decision? When did players find out? I'm hearing a lot of conflicting stories on that, and so it's sort of hard here to get to the truth right now. Some more time needed.
And Mike will get to the bottom of it. He's
Yeah,
one of the
he
best at what
definitely
does.
will. I mean, him not playing, really, what was the reason for that? And then not finding out till right before the game, I think.
Do we know that for sure? Because it seems like everything in this story is sort of, I think this is it. I'm not sure what that is.
I think that's why he was the thought he was why he was so emotional, is that's when he found out, or maybe that's when it hit him. I guess we don't know the answer to a lot of things, but my son and I, we went at it a little bit this morning.
You guys did.
We put up the exchange on.
You were not laughing.
At Golic and Wingo about the effect of that. And now that I look back on what we were kind of yelling at each other about, I think we are kind of saying the same thing. I think we have some disagreement, but my thought was, okay, he didn't play. That shouldn't affect your play, like your teammates' play. You can be surprised that it happened, and does it make you worse as a defense if one of your top players isn't out there? Yes, I completely agree with that. It's just like if you get a guy that's injured, you're all of a sudden, he's one of your starters. If one of your starters isn't out there and a backup comes in, you're naturally going to not be as good. I completely understand that. But this seems like it was a little different to my son's point, that would really catch you off guard. You're used to an injury. Okay, you're playing. Oh, he's injured. This guy's coming in. Okay, even though that injured guy is the one that started that gets all the reps in practice, in comes his backup. But, that's how you roll. This seemed like such an odd situation of, when did Malcolm find out? When did the teammates find out? All of a sudden, it's not the normal situation of why someone's not playing. And if they're not playing for a reason earlier in the week, if you knew then, there's a difference of knowing right before the game as opposed to someone getting hurt in the game. So the natural thing is, yes, when you're one of your starters, a guy who hasn't played, who's played 98% of the snaps isn't in there, you're surprised when it's not injury related and you didn't hear a lot about it. But as I said, it shouldn't affect your play. As I don't know how it should. Now, I mean, it'll affect your side of the ball. I get it. But should it affect your play?
Well, here's the deal, and I think you were sort of getting to the same point, but I think the big difference was what you just said. If a guy's injured, you know how it is in the NFL. Okay, he's gone. He's not here. He's dead to me. I can't worry about it. I don't even want to know you. You know what I mean? You're out. Right. Don't even come to the training room. Don't do anything. You're gone. But if it's not an injury and it's something else, and the game is struggling, and you're having some issues on defense, and you're wondering, in the back of your mind, you're wondering, wait, why isn't he out there? That's a different deal. I'm with Junior on this. It's a different deal. But listen, I'm sorry, I'm not. If Don't be sorry. Be who you are.
If you're Trey Flowers or Lawrence Guy, a couple of D linemen, if you're up there lined up for a play or whatever and worrying about why he's not back there, that's your fault.
No,
you go play the game.
I agree with you on that point.
How is that going to affect what that D-line is? As I said, as a defense as a whole, I understand you not being as good. I get it. But if you start telling me that a guy is going to be worrying about why isn't he out there more than his play, well, that's on the guy.
No,
that's on the guy.
That part you are 100% right on. But if they're all human. I mean, right. we look at them as robots. At some point, these guys are going, I mean, why in the hell is this guy back here? What's going on here? And if you're thinking about that at all at any time, and they do it, you try not to, but they're gonna do it. Suddenly, your focus that has to be razor sharp and laser like is not the same. And if an injury, you're like, okay, the guy's gone. Nothing I can do about that. But we can do something about that guy who's not on the field.
You can put him in the game.
You can put him in the damn game.
I can see way more of an effect on the defensive backfield. If you want to say that, yeah, but the position I play D-line, if it's a secondary guy, it's not affecting my play. I can sit there, as I said, you can tell me I'm human and worry about it all I want, but that's still my fault. Technically, from how you play out there with the other DBs, can there be an effect? Yes, because a player that technically is not as good, because it's not one of the starters, is out there, so affects your rotation out there. I can see that. To me, it shouldn't have any effect on the offensive guy. No, but on the offensive player out there. You can think about it all you want, but I don't know. You know, maybe
the offense wasn't an issue. They had 613 yards.
No, that's
the only
true.
team that ever had 600 yards.
I
lost.
just don't get the correlation of okay. I'm sitting there if I'm playing in Philadelphia, and all of a sudden we go out in the game and Eric Allen isn't on the field, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? How is Eric not on the field when we need him on the field and we didn't know what was going on? But I can't let that affect my play as a defensive lineman, so I guess that's more where I was going. Is your defense worse with Malcolm Butler not on the field? Yes, it is. I completely agree with that.
The only thing I would say is you're right. Unless you're running a game with another defensive lineman, you're pretty much beat the guy in front of you, or you run your stunt.
Yes.
The secondary is so interconnected.
Well, that's what I just said.
So interconnected.
Well, that's what I said. I understand the secondary where those guys now may be a little out of sync just because of the way it happened.
And then you're wondering,
you got to put it aside and play ball.
Right, but as you're playing ball, you're saying, okay, does this guy know in this coverage that I'm supposed to be doing this and he's supposed to be doing that? That's part of the process of a guy who's been there 98% of the snaps.
I understand that, but the guys, the second teamers are working in practice. They roll them in. That's why the next man up. I mean, that's the whole thing. It's not like Rowe went in the game and they were like, who the hell's this guy? I've never met him in my life. They know who they are.
True, but at some point in the second quarter, when you look up and you're down 10 points, 22-12, and your defense is getting torched, don't you go, hey, this guy, why, how, what's going on here?
I agree with that.
And that takes you out of the game a little bit mentally. It does.
I don't know about that.
I'm with Junior.
I don't know about that.
I'm Team Junior on this. I like you a lot.
I know. That's okay. That's all right. No problem.
I want you to know I really like you a lot. Just want to make sure we're good there.
I like that. Oh, my God.
You ever read?
Yeah, I do. Okay. I'll do that. And then we'll do some of the...
Just reminding you of the business of this part.
Okay, let's talk about Stoli Vodka, one of the world's most awarded premium vodkas. With a commitment to uncompromising quality since 1938, Stoli controls every aspect of its vodka making, from planting, harvesting the finest ingredients to distilling and bottling. This process has been followed for decades to guarantee the consistency and quality, the signature ultra-smooth taste in each iconic bottle produced. It's time you picked up Stoli Vodka for a try. For those who know their vodka well and themselves even better, Stoli is the vodka. Check out Stoli as the official vodka and Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue. Enjoy responsibly. 40% alcohol by volume. Imported by Stoli Group USA, LLC, New York, New York.
You all right?
I'm doing fine. I thought we were doing that after we did these predictions.
Oh, sorry. I thought we were doing it in between.
Yeah, no problem.
We get it all straightened out. I'm worried about the yellow fever malaise a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm worried if the yellow fever malaise might be kicking in.
Yeah.
All right, so we did my 5 NFL offseason top stories, and one of them was the big quarterback situation.
Mm-hmm.
Well, proving how much better Dan Graziano at his job than I am at mine. I did 5 overviews, and
you did.
All of the quarterbacks were one of the 5. Dan has taken the deep dive here, and I mean the deep dive. He has 10 predictions for the 2018 NFL season.
Yes, he does.
And one of those involves future Jet Kirk Cousins.
Yes, it does.
So his number 1 prediction is that Cousins, all the places he can go, he goes to the Jets, Mike. That's the prediction from Dan Graziano.
Wow. Jets, Browns, Denver Broncos, Arizona Cardinals, all teams that need a quarterback. And the bottom line is you have to pay big money. Now, the Browns have a ton of money to pay him because this is a $100 million deal, right? Starting. And I mean, close to guarantees. The biggest guarantee is Andrew Luck at $87 million, I believe, in that area there. So this is going to be the next thing, and everybody's going to yell and scream that he's not worth that. But you know what? That's the market right now. That's what's going to happen. There's a starting point there for the quarterbacks, and that's what he's going to get. So you know what you have to come to the table with to sign him. That's a pretty good one. Yeah, that's a pretty good one.
The Jets were surprisingly competitive this year. What was the joke? And I'm sure Greeny said it 100 million times as a Jets fan. They may not win a game. They're going to set the record for fewest points, yada, yada, yada. The Jets were a hell of a lot more competitive than the Giants were this
completely
year.
Were.
And they have the cap money, and they need a quarterback. But do you think the Jets are a quarterback away from being a playoff team? The defense was pretty good this year.
I mean, any of these teams are the Browns getting a quarterback away from the play? I mean, you get this quarterback to build. He's 29 years old. It may not be next year that you're that playoff team, but you're doing it for a reason. Anybody who signs Kirk Cousins, you're signing him for the long haul, saying this is going to be our guy. Right. So the Jets, not a bad, at least going out on, I don't know how much of a limb, we'll see. Again, you could pick a handful of teams, and Jets are certainly one of them.
Well, they have some cap space.
Yep.
And they were much better than people thought. The bigger issue here is, will Kirk Cousins hold up all the dominoes?
Right.
Because I don't think anybody's going to go and sign somebody else until they find out what Kirk Cousins
he's going to do. Right.
So he could be the first one to follow. Staying in New York, he also says Odell Beckham Jr., who missed a lot of this season because of the injury, is going to sit out at least one regular season game. Not because of discipline. He thinks it's going to be about his contract getting done.
A la Aaron McDonald.
Correct.
Aaron McDonald. I'm sorry, Aaron McDonald. Aaron Donald, your defensive player of the year, who missed a game, missed the first game, came back before the first game, but came back in during that week, so he didn't play in that first game. So I could see Odell doing that, missing a little bit of time. He's not going to miss the season or anything like that. Could he miss some time? Possibly. And then you worry again about injury coming back. Didn't happen with Donald. He had a monster year. But eventually Odell Beckham will be in a Giants uniform, and he'll be getting paid a lot of money for it.
Yeah, and you know what? Quite frankly, he deserves the contract. I mean, he's clearly outperformed his rookie deal, and he is one of the most dynamic. Now, he's got some issues he's got to work with. And by issues, I mean controlling his feelings and controlling his temper. Everyone wants to fuel their fire, but you can't let it spill over and affect your play. Right. And that's the issue he's got going. Okay, we had 8 new playoff teams this year in the NFL. Dan says there's going to be at least 5 next year, and these are the teams he likes. The Jets, the Chargers, the Raiders, the Packers, and the 49ers.
Well, that's 3 AFC teams, so you got to kick out 3. Could you kick out the Buffalo Bills? Could you kick out the Tennessee Titans?
You could.
As well. You'd have to kick out one more. You kick out, and that would be New England, Pittsburgh, Jacksonville, or Kansas City.
Kansas City's going to be interesting because of the transition.
You got a new quarterback. I don't care that he's in his second year. It's going to be like a rookie year for Pat Mahomes. So, and the Chargers, we saw how they were playing.
Yeah.
And the Raiders, John Gruden back, 2 years ago, the Raiders, we were like, oh my God, they're going to make this move. And then Derek Carr gets hurt. And Packers, listen, whenever Aaron Rodgers is going to be your quarterback, you got a shot. And the 49ers, man, I tell you what, you got to love the direction they're going. And Jimmy Garoppolo has been nothing short of sensational for the 6-win team last year when he finally got his chance. So that's pretty good predictions, I think, out of him.
Well, I think the Packers are the easiest bet there because of Aaron is healthy.
Yep.
He's great. Then he has Le'Veon Bell signing that contract extension. It sounds like they're making progress toward that.
I think that
way
gets
ahead
done.
of where they were a year
I think
ago.
that obviously Le'Veon Bell wants way more than he's probably going to get, as most players do, and the team wants to pay way less than they want to pay, and it'll meet somewhere in the middle. Either way, he'll be the highest paid running back.
Probably get about $25 million in guaranteed money. That would seem about right for the running back position. He also has Josh Allen as the first pick in the draft, but he doesn't start a game in 2018.
Means they'll have, and in this case, Graziano says that they're going to pick up A.J. McCarron in the offseason. It would be a trade, I would imagine, right? The backup quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals, and he'll quarterback until Josh Allen is there. Todd McShay's mock draft is out, and he does not have Josh Allen going number 1 to the Cleveland Browns. We'll get to that in a minute. But so we'll see whatever pick it is, if that pick does sit for the first year.
Yeah, it's interesting that he has there, as we're going through Dan Graziano's top predictions for the 2018 NFL season. He has them picking up McCarron. They tried that once already.
Yeah, they did.
Didn't quite finish the deal.
Didn't kind of work out the way they wanted to.
Second time around, it'll work for the
Yeah.
Browns. How about this? 6 more coaching changes after the 2018 season.
Baltimore, Cleveland, Denver, Washington, Tampa Bay, and Seattle, where he says Pete Carroll will retire. But so that'd be John Harbaugh, Hugh Jackson, was it Vance Joseph, who I mean, was there just 1 year last year.
Hung on by the skin of his teeth this year.
Jay
really
Gruden
did.
and Dirk Cutter, with a lot of people thought might lose his job this year in Tampa Bay. And
Listen,
John Gruden maybe would have filled in there.
The one thing that you say with great certainty every year in the NFL is there will be change.
Yeah, there
will be coaching changes. How about this one? Nick Foles leads the Eagles to a 3-1 start while Carson Wentz continues rehab, and that's, Mike, why I think he's not going anywhere.
Yeah, again, it would. Everybody has a price. Will somebody, offer that price to the Philadelphia Eagles? Because Carson Wentz, the thought is, remember, he heard it in December against the Rams, I believe it was. Mm-hmm. So 9 months is September.
You usually talk about a full year.
Yeah, and so 9 months, could he be back? Yes, he could be back, but then it's the thought maybe 11 months to a year where he looks like what you saw when he was playing well. So, and it looks like he should get some time in training camp, but if it's close, then do you want that backup plan, which really is going to be an interesting decision for the Philadelphia Eagles if they get a quality high offer that really makes them think, about, okay, what do we do here?
See, I think it's more likely that they trade him before the trade deadline in the regular season. Because, look, they could do it absolutely. But to me, if I'm Doug Peterson, look, I want to make sure that we're good with the quarterback.
I
we
get
won't
it.
know
Listen,
about that with Carson for a long, long time.
I absolutely, and he may want that. Howie Roseman may, when he's listening to the phone going, wait, you're offering us what?
Yeah.
And say.
He got a 1 for Sam Bradford once.
So it's going to get real interesting with that.
The thing there, too, is that, look, Phillip Rivers once played an AFC championship game with a torn ACL.
Yeah.
Number one, it was a playoff game. You do whatever you can. Number two, Phillip Rivers is not Carson Wentz. A big part of Carson Wentz's game is his movement, his mobility. And you want to make sure that we saw that with RG3.
Right.
If you come back too soon, it's a real problem.
Yeah, you don't want to mess around with that.
And it throws off your dynamics and mechanics everywhere else. So you got to make sure you protect that. So he has Foles there starting the first 4 games. Andrew Luck at number 8 as Dan Graziano's top 10 predictions. Returns and plays all 16 games. Well, wouldn't that be a sigh of relief?
Great to see. I mean, so much promise was put on Luck, and, early on you're like, wow, this kid's living up, and now he's got all kinds of, the injury issues that are going on. Everybody with the thought of a potential another surgery may be happening. So with him coming back, it would be great, but that team is a mess. I mean, they need so much more talent around him.
Well, I think GM Chris Ballard's going to do a really good job there. He's sort of righted the ship after everything that went on with Grigson, and I think they'll get it going, but they've got to make sure Andrew Luck is healthy and ready to go. Herm Edwards, when he was here, he said it back then when he had Chad Pennington. It was the same surgery.
Right.
He said it took a full year, and that we're just about that full year now from the shoulder surgery that he had last offseason, and hopefully Andrew Luck will come back and play really, really well. Number 9, and this would be a win for everyone. The NFL changes the catch rule to appease fans and increase scoring. I'm not sure if we want to increase scoring. Let's just make it clearer, man.
Let's not do it for the reason of increasing scoring. Let's just do it for the simplicity of knowing what a catch is.
Yeah.
And that is exactly it. Make it a little more simple for fans to understand, but make sure the refs can understand it and everybody really understands what a catch is going to be. So let's simplify the process. I'll be interested. They're going to come up with something different. It's just a matter of what they come up with. And if we go, okay, that makes more sense, or we go, what?
Yeah.
Okay, we still don't get it.
I'd like somewhere between your idea and Drew Bledsoe's idea.
Yeah, a 6-year-old deciding or a bar of drunk people.
Exactly. Drew Bledsoe's, what do 6-year-olds think? Catch, not a catch. Your thing is let the people do it like Gladiator. Thumbs up, thumbs down at a bar somewhere that's not in the city where the two teams are playing. And by the way, Dan, kudos to you. We're 2 days removed from the Super Bowl. He's already got Super Bowl 53 mapped out. The Saints will beat the Steelers in Super Bowl 53.
How about that, huh?
I don't know. Drew Brees at 40. Drew Brees at 40 next year, right? Drew Brees will be 40 or 39.
What did Drew Brees do last year? Oh, yeah. Great things. And, they got an unbelievable running game as well. I mean, Drew Brees, what do you have? 23 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 4,300 yards, 72% completion. And he's got Ingram and Kamara in the backfield.
Really nice running game.
Good defense. So, yeah, I could see that.
The defense really made a huge step forward after 3 years being the worst over that 3-year time frame in almost every statistical category. So kudos, Dan. I feel good about my 5, and you just lapped me.
Yeah, you did. Good job, Dan.
Nicely done. Golic and Wingo presented by 1-800-Flowers.com. Valentine's bouquets come in all shapes and prices. But as you know, Mike, the best, the simple best, are at 1-800-Flowers.com. 24 multicolored roses for only $29.99. If you don't like that, you can upgrade to 24 red roses for only $10 more, and these are picked at their peak. They are fresh. They're the best. To order, go to 1-800-Flowers.com/ESPN. So we just did our 10 predictions, Dan Graziano, for 2018. But before we get to the 2018 regular season, we've got to get through the player procurement era, and that means the draft is coming up. And when we come back, Todd McShay in studio with his new mock. Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN2, presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. But right now in studio, you've got Todd. ESPN NFL draft expert Todd McShay joins us in studio, giving the Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts. So it sounds about right, Todd. We're 2 days after the Super Bowl. We are on to the draft. We are on to the draft. We are moving on.
Not all of us are on to Hawaii. So
isn't that the truth?
Come on, hop on. Plenty of room.
Yeah. Have fun with this guy all day.
Big plane. Big plane, Todd. Big plane.
Almost done with him.
Literally on so many levels.
Yeah,
You're almost done with
there
it.
you go.
It's been a good run. We had a couple of good months.
Yeah, we did.
So this is mock number 1?
2.
Yeah, that's right. 2. You had the first one right after the season.
Yeah.
How many are we going to do this year?
I don't know.
I will say, I know you hate doing all the ones, but boy, this year, I think I sit there more than any. I try and think back. The quarterback situation from trading to free agency is really going to mess with the top of your draft.
But we're actually going to, for once, we're going to need to do.
That's exactly right. That more my point. So for those that don't know, because it just was released, Todd McShay's draft has the Browns taking Sam Darnold number 1. I'll do the top 5 right now. The Giants at number 2 taking Josh Rosen, the quarterback from UCLA. The Colts at number 3 taking Bradley Chubb, the pass rusher out of North Carolina State. Then the Browns get another pick, number 4, Saquon Barkley, the running back out of Penn State. And here's the one that's going to get all kind of talk.
Here we go.
The Broncos at number 5, Baker Mayfield from Oklahoma. So first, I guess we should start at 1. Why Sam Darnold over Josh Allen, over Josh Rosen, over Baker Mayfield? That's number 1.
It's a tough call. It is, because you can make an argument for and against, I think, all of these guys. You know, with Josh Rosen, I think he's the best pure passer in the class. I think you got to investigate who he is and what his priorities are and go from there. There are questions about him, and the mobility is a factor as well, lack thereof, and being under pressure and making some mistakes when under pressure because he's not able to escape like these other 3 quarterbacks are. Baker Mayfield, obviously, 46 starts, experienced, leadership, the energy that he brings. The lack of size doesn't concern me as much as some other people, but it certainly factors in. And then we just got to figure out how he's going to handle all the attention. And you know, he certainly likes to have the circus around him.
Right.
So
he does.
So where he lands will be important. To me, that's that pick. And I'm skipping forward here, but the Broncos sitting at 5. If Allen and Mayfield are both on the board at that point, that'll be really interesting because John Elway and the staff coached both of those quarterbacks at the Senior Bowl. Elway was at the College Bowl game for Josh Allen against Central Michigan, and so he's clearly doing his digging on those, as you will with all of these guys. But having the personal time that staff had with those players, and also if they decide to go out and get a veteran and say, you know what, from our experience that week with these guys, maybe they're not going to be the guy. And maybe we're not as sold as we wanted to be going into that process. So it's going to be interesting to see what comes out of that.
Here's the question I have, because this all, as we know, may change depending on what happens in free agency.
Right, exactly.
So let's start with Cleveland, because we had Joe Thomas on this show and on NFL Live last week, and he said John Dorsey, the new GM, doesn't like playing a rookie quarterback. So let's assume that they get a veteran. If they get that veteran, where does Cleveland go at number one?
Well, if they get a veteran
that
they plan on sticking with and being the guy for a long period of time, then I think it would be Saquon Barkley. I think he's the best player in this draft. But if they get a bridge the gap veteran, then I still think you go with the quarterback there and hope Barkley's there at 4. But if not, you're getting Bradley Chubb, another pass rusher which they could use, or a Minkah Fitzpatrick, which is a versatile defensive back that can do a lot of different things for you. So either way, I don't think the Browns. It can go wrong, but
you were just about to say either way they can't go wrong, and then you realized the team you were talking about.
Right, but John Dorsey's here now, and hopefully for the Browns fans, things will start to turn around and be different moving forward. But they have good options sitting there at 1 and 4. It's not like they're in a situation where they're stuck at 3 and there's 2 quarterbacks, or there's no other player that fits a hole that they need.
Right,
they're in a good position to have a big-time haul from this draft.
They absolutely are.
And just hope that it's not history repeating itself.
Well, the problem for them is if they do choose a quarterback, now it's going to be, okay, from everybody's kind of looking at it, we have a 1 in 4 shot here, and they're going to choose a quarterback, and the natural assumption is they're going to choose the wrong one when they see this go on, because I should mention in the 6th pick, you have the 4th quarterback going in the top 6 pick, and you have Josh Allen going to the Jets. Again, a name we don't see, and we were talking about just a couple other names, and maybe they'd sneak into the back of the first half or back of the first round if there's a trade up. A Mason Rudolph, a Lamar Jackson, those two guys.
Yeah, and talking to more guys in the league down in the Senior Bowl, I think there's a legitimate chance Lamar Jackson could go late in the first, as whatever that team decides, to draft him for.
Right.
And
he's going to be a quarterback at first.
Listen,
don't you think?
Here's what 9 out of 10 people were saying, and it's personally, I agree with it. I think you draft him because he's been the most explosive player in college football the last 2 years with the ball in his hand. And then you figure it out. But what's going to be interesting to see is how willing he is to go in the league. And I think most teams I talk to, as I said, are looking at him as a package player, if you will. So we're going to use him on some third downs. We're going to use him in the red zone, goal line situations, but then also try to get some value out of him just getting the ball in his hands. Somehow, some way, some shape.
Why would he not be, considering he was a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback?
Because he has a lot of work to do on his accuracy, and he has a lot
Josh Allen is at 56% over 2 years in his career.
I understand.
It just seems weird that we're saying, he may be a quarterback, he may not be, when he's been a very successful quarterback.
And I think you're going to draft him to try to develop him as a quarterback, but if it doesn't work out, he's too explosive not to have him on the field.
So there's a plan B, is what you're saying.
That's what I believe.
I would completely agree. You take him and you put him in packages, and if it doesn't work out there, you morph him into something else. The problem with him, Trey, is he runs so much. Yeah. He's going to have to stop doing that because he's getting broken in half. He will not survive running that much in the NFL.
There's no question. We see that from all the even Mariota has got to stop running as much as he has because it's gotten him in trouble a couple of times. All right, let's play the same game with the Broncos that we did with the Browns at number 1. Denver, they got a defense that's ready to win now, and I don't know if you can get a rookie in Baker who's a little undersized, who's going to sit pretty well in that locker room. Let's say they get Kirk Cousins, or they find somebody else on the open market that they're able to land. How does that change what Denver does at 5?
I think then if you're at 5, you got 2 options. Obviously, you see who's available. Is it another defensive player? Is it a Bradley Chubb or a Minkah Fitzpatrick? I don't know that you're going to go Calvin Ridley that high, but I think the good spot you are in if you address the quarterback position is you got the Jets sitting behind you, and then any other team like the Dolphins sitting at 11 that is looking for a quarterback. If there's one or more quarterbacks still available, then maybe you get to move back a little bit and get some additional picks and continue to try to build that offensive line. I think that's got to be a priority for the Broncos at some point in this draft. And, they used a pick early last year. They've got to continue to do that and continue to build that group, because it doesn't matter who they bring in at quarterback. If they can't protect better, they're just not going to turn the corner.
The rest of the top 10, I went to 6 with Josh Allen. You have Minkah Fitzpatrick, the defensive player from Alabama, defensive back going to the Tampa Bay. Calvin Ridley going to the Bears. Hopefully they can get a wide receiver that can stay healthy. And then 9 and 10, they saw the coin flip, right, at the Combine. Right now you have the 49ers taking a quarterback, Denzel Ward, Ohio State. Number 10, the Raiders. Tremaine Edmonds, the pass rusher, outside linebacker, DN from Virginia Tech. Quickly from the Broncos, is 5 too high if they get that quarterback because the line, I agree. Quentin Nelson is the top O lineman, but he's an interior lineman. You know how that thought process is sometimes from an interior lineman. But you want to talk about the ultimate plug-and player and just go in and help a line get better right away.
I couldn't agree more. I would argue that it's an easy argument to make. He's one of the 5 best players in this draft. I've talked to 2 different personnel directors, general managers in the last couple of weeks who said outside of Barkley, he's the best player in this draft. And so
Quentin Nelson,
he's a guard. He's going to go.
He throws people.
He's ridiculous.
He probably has the best tape of anybody in the entire draft.
That is true.
I mean, he manhandles
If you
guys.
can guarantee, I know it's a guard, but if you can guarantee me you're going to get a Pro Bowl player and that he's going to be safe and you know what he is, his makeup, I don't have a problem taking a guard.
What's interesting, you have him going 11 to the Dolphins. I go back to the draft that had Zach Martin in it from Notre Dame as well, coached by Harry Hiestand. But all those guys drafted Greg Robinson, Taylor Lewan. It was Matthews, Jake Matthews, and Zach Martin were all tackles.
Yes,
and Lewan ended up at left tackle.
Right.
Greg Robinson ended up out of the league. He just didn't pan out at all. Matthews ended up at the left tackle. He started out at right. And Zach Martin is one of the best guards in the game. So
about to get paid. By the way.
He is about to get paid. So what's the deepest position to you in this draft?
Well, quarterback, first of all, is deeper than normal, I would say. But running back, and it's not reflected in this, but we all talk about Saquon Barkley. There are so many running backs in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round this year. Ronald Jones, the 3rd from USC, is explosive. Darius Geist didn't have a huge year, but Leonard Fournette's backup a year ago. Wait till he works out. It's going to be his stock is going to hit north fast. All the way down to like Rashad Penny from San Diego State. This class, I think you're going to see somewhere in the range of 10 running backs in the 2nd and 3rd rounds. And I think, you're not fired up to use an early, this high of a pick on a running back, but Saquon Barkley's got a chance to be.
We've seen, Todd Gurley. We've seen these guys come in. Zeke. It's really weird how the running back has come back in vogue after really good picks suddenly pan out.
There's 2 years where we didn't have a 1st round pick, and all of a sudden, the running back position's dead.
All right, you mentioned and what Geis is going to do in his workouts. Someone who's already gone this week.
Mentally?
Yeah, well, I'm checked out. No, but this guy at the Senior Bowl, and you have him right now going 14 to the Packers, and that's Marcus Davenport.
Yes.
Is he the ultimate boom bust guy in this 1st round?
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe. He certainly is he's a guy who, almost like Ziggy Ansah, very different background and story, but just wasn't heavily recruited, winds up at Texas San Antonio. I popped in the first tape I watched Baylor, and he's just all over the field. Yeah. And they've upset Baylor, as you well know. Pretty held him to 10 points at Baylor. He is so talented, but he's just scratching the surface right now in terms of what he can be. Ziggy Ansah, I think, is a very good comparison physically because of the length and the power and the quickness, but he's going to have to continue to develop. It's probably going to be a year or 2 before you get him to a peak level.
The guy in the 1st round that makes you go wow the most.
Wow, by wow you mean like
wow? I can't wait to see this guy play.
I think Denzel Ward is a player that no one really talks about. I think because at cornerback at Ohio State, you're sitting behind some pretty good players, and
played pretty well this year in the league.
But he might be Marshawn Lattimore. He's right up there in terms of just explosive athletes. I think this guy is going to be a really good pro. And if you're looking for someone just man-to-man coverage, he's the best in the group.
Boy, he ends up with the 49ers. That'd be something, the team they're building out there.
Right.
Yeah. I'm curious to see what Derwin James is at the next level, because he had a disappointing senior year, but he played every position on that defense.
Right.
From putting his hand in the dirt to playing safety.
And that can hurt you, though, at times, right? But jack of all trades, master of none?
Yeah, but I think
Jabril Peppers kind of situation.
Yeah, Jabril Peppers, but I think he's a player that, remember, he came off the injury from a year before. The team fell apart. It was not a good situation.
Yeah.
But you go back to his first year, He is a special player. That he's explosive versus the run, and he can cover too. I think he and Minkah Fitzpatrick are two players that fit today's NFL really well.
All right, Todd, we'll see what happens. This will be the second of 743 drafts.
Yes, it will.
That you'll do before the end of the month of April when we'll be out there in Dallas. We'll all be there. Appreciate you stopping by, my friend.
Thanks, man. Aloha.
We will. Yes, we will. We'll react to Todd's draft after this, and then mahalo, people. Yeah, how strong, by the way, would the tranquilizer have to be for you to just say, I'm going to fall asleep in a driverless car?
No way I could relax enough. And I know it's coming. It's going to happen. We're going to have to all buy into it at some point. This car's going to come pick you up like Uber or something, and there's going to be nobody driving it. And you're going to willfully get in that thing and close the door and let that thing take you into traffic with nobody driving it.
It's a little scary.
God,
I mean, you'd have to have a horse tranquilizer, I think, for me to do that. I mean, I'd have to be like semi-conscious.
Yeah,
that's the only way
it's
around.
A tough
that.
call, and yet we're going to do it.
We are, and when we do it, you know what we'll be doing? When we realize it's not a big deal.
What's that?
We'll have the last laugh. Now that's Junior. Here's my attempt at it. It's pretty close.
Really good.
That's pretty close. We should have a test when Junior gets back and when I get back. Which one is his and which one is mine?
That's really good.
Let's do that one more time. Which one is which?
Now, I know because I know his laugh so well, but those are pretty darn close.
He's got a little, he's all about the bass. He's got a little more.
He got that bass.
A little more bass.
Got a little more to him there. You know what I'm talking about?
A little more bass. Mm-hmm. Hey, by the way, check out the First Draft podcast with Mel Kiper Jr. and Todd McShay every Friday on the ESPN app and Apple Podcasts.
So this is the biggest thing that's going to happen with the Browns because there's glass half full, which I like to be, and then there's your glass is shattered against the wall, and that's every Cleveland Browns fan out there.
Correct.
So they all know it's just because Mel Kiper in his draft had Josh Allen going to the Cleveland Browns. Now Todd has Sam Darnold going to the Cleveland Browns. If they do take a quarterback number one, that's going to be the thought of every Cleveland Brown fan out there. Is there were basically 3 to 4 to really choose. I don't think anybody thinks Baker Mayfield is going to go number one, but of Rosen, Darnold, and Josh Allen, that Cleveland is going to choose one, and it's going to be the wrong one.
Well,
right?
That's the running gag in Cleveland and also with Jets. I mean, what did Stugott say? Whoever they take, it's going to be the wrong choice. It's going to be the wrong quarterback.
I think, if you were the Jets, put it this way, Browns, Broncos, Jets, of all those teams, would you go get a veteran quarterback before you drafted a quarterback?
If I'm the Broncos, I would get a veteran because that defense
is ready to go.
And you don't have a long window with that defense. They won a Super Bowl 50, and they haven't made the playoffs since because basically the quarterback play. Mm-hmm. Because of the quarterback play. They tried with two power forwards in Brock Osweiler and Paxton Lynch. Stop drafting 6'8" quarterbacks.
Right,
it never works. It's never worked. It never will work. So let's go get a guy. Let's go get a plug-and-play guy like Kirk Cousins. Hey, man, look at this defense. We'll get you the running game going, and you're good to go. The receivers are still good. They still have – and by the way, they're getting Jake Butt off the ACL injury from a year ago.
That's right. Yeah.
So the tight end position is going to be pretty strong. If I'm those – of all those three teams, because you need one for the future in Cleveland, you need one going forward for the Jets. But if you're the Denver Broncos, your chance to win is right stinking now. Let's go in there and get it done.
Will be really interesting. Again, 4 in Todd McShay's draft, 4 quarterbacks in the top 6 picks. Sam Darnold, number 1 to the Browns. Josh Rosen, number 2 to the Giants. Baker Mayfield, number 5 to the Broncos. And Josh Allen, number 6 to the Jets. No Mason Rudolph, no Lamar Jackson. But we all know in the back part of that first round, sometimes you get that trade. Somebody trades up into that back part of the first round to grab a quarterback.
Yeah, McShay has 4 QBs going in the first 6 picks in the common draft era since 67. The most quarterbacks selected in the first 6 was 3 in 99 and 1971. Hey, you want me to bring you back anything from Hawaii? Like a cone of coffee or something?
I hate your guts. I hope you have a great time. I really do, but man, I hate you.
Well, he who laughs last laughs best.